This video was recorded in the Broadway Lafayette subway station in Manhattan last May 1st at 2:24 p.m. The woman filming, Yvette Rosario, has just witnessed a struggle in her subway car. The man in the white t-shirt being held on the floor is Jordan Neely. He is 30 years old, homeless, and diagnosed with schizophrenia. He boarded the train at the previous stop. Witnesses say Neely entered the car and immediately began threatening passengers, saying he was, quote, ready to die and would kill a motherfucker. Daniel Penny, a 24-year-old student and former Marine from Long Island, took Neely to the ground and put him in a chokehold. He's the blonde guy there, restraining Neely. These 6 minutes will change everything for both men.
Hey, shalom, shalom. This is Brother Howard of GMS Toronto coming back with another one. And what we're watching is a ritual. How do we know that it's a ritual? Well, we got to go back to the start of the video, right? And shout out to this lady for putting together, I don't know her name, but shout out to her for putting together this 10-minute video where she's explaining what has happened over a year period, because we just came to the resolution or the conclusion of the matter, which was a not guilty for the Caucasian man by the name of Penny. And why? Because it's just a ritual. That's all that it was. Nothing was out of place. Everything was in place. How do we know that it was in place? Well, let's find out.
This video was recorded in the Broadway Lafayette subway station in Manhattan last...
See, May 1st, right? That's when this video was recorded, May 1st. What is May 1st? Right? May 1st is known as May Day, right? On the occult Wiccan calendar, or the witch's wheel of the year, right? Which is a Wiccan calendar. That goes back to Beltane, right? Which is a festival where that actually goes back to our people, right? When our people were known as Celts, right? Where we were just a bunch of wicked Israelites, right? Where we learned those things from the Phoenicians, right? Who taught us these different ritualistic ways of communicating with the spiritual world, mainly for harvesting, right? That's what these rituals were mainly for. We're trying to be, we're to bless the harvest, right? These were different agricultural communities, right? Different agricultural locations, and they called upon different gods. One of the rituals, especially to that god, because the day is May 1st, which is known as Beltane. The god is Bel, right? Or Baal. One of the ways of appeasing that god, or pleasing that god, or making that god satisfied. How to satisfy that god is with blood, right? Just like the goddess. There's a goddess by the name of Kali. How do you please Kali? By ritualistic killings, sacrifices of people, right? When you go into the Bible, right? This is biblical as well. You had people that will sacrifice their own children. So this is nothing new. Like the scripture says, there's nothing new under the sun. The only difference now is people, they're presenting these rituals in a way that is more theatric. They can't just put it in your face to be like, hey, we're sacrificing this man for our God because we want prosperity, or we want this outcome, or we want a vision, right? Because you have to understand, these people communicate with spirits, and sometimes the spirits don't communicate back with them. They might have to do a ritual. Sometimes the ritual is just of an animal, right? Sometimes they might have a sex ritual, right? There's different sex rituals all throughout even masonry or witchcraft. When you go into witchcraft, you have a sex ritual by the name of the Great Rite, right? Rite spells Rite, which lets you know that it's a ritual. But even when you look at the different symbols, all the symbols that we see all throughout the world are sex symbols. Now, this is what would be known as different sex symbols, right? The coming together of opposites, right? Even when you people, well, when I say you people, even when you have guys that claim to be Israelites that are still wearing the shield of David, right? Which they call that, or the Star of David, that's a sex symbol. We're not supposed to wear that. That's the coming together of opposites. That's two triangles, right? One going up, one pointing up, one pointing down, one representing male and female. It also can represent male and male. It also could represent female and female, right? So these are not things that we should be using. We should not be using these different symbols. They're occult, right? And the occult meaning, the hidden meaning, because occult just means hidden, the hidden meaning behind them is it's that it's a sex ritual, right? This is known as sex magic, right? The Great Rite. Now, this is Leviticus chapter 18, verse 21, and it reads, "And thou shalt not let any of thy seed pass through the fire to Molech, neither shalt thou profane the name of the Lord," right? The name of God, I am the Lord, right? Because guess what? Molech, and the reason why it says pass through the fire, these different festivals, especially one on May 1st, right, where they would have the maypole, right? And the brothers in my camp, they know what that festival is all about, because I think it was last year, these druids did a whole festival where we preach, right behind where we preach. They did a whole festival, and these modern day Wiccans or these modern day druids or these modern day witches try to make it seem like these rituals are all symbolic now, meaning that they don't practice what the ancients used to practice. That's a lie, right? You people that are new initiates, you're lower degrees. You're not high level degrees. You don't know what's being practiced. So you have no right to even open your mouth and speak on what really happens behind closed doors. That's why when certain truths come out about people like Jay-Z, P. Diddy, and so on and so forth, you people are shocked because you don't understand the rituals that have to take place for these people to become prosperous. And you don't understand the gods that these people actually worship, right? The different stag god, right? The different goddesses that these people try to embody, the rituals that these people do to communicate with different spirits, high level witchcraft. And one of them is child sacrifice, right? Just like the Bible is saying. But going back to Beltane, that's a time of bonfires, right? They'll have different bonfires. What do you think those bonfires are for? You think those bonfires are just for purification? No. The bonfires are for actually sacrificing people, animals, children, right? This is not no joke. This is real life, man. This is real life, right? So the first signal or the first red flag in this video is literally May 1st, because remember, these people speak through, how do they speak, right? After the Most High confounded our languages, right? During the time of Babel, right? Our languages were confounded. These people now communicate differently. There's a different way of communication, and the way these people communicate, people who are initiated into the left-hand path, they communicate with signs, symbols, right? Just like the scriptures goes into, He speaketh with his hands, right? That's how these people speak. They have different signals. They might put up the peace sign. They might put up the horns. They might stick out their tongue. They might wink the eye. This is Proverbs chapter 6, verse 13. He winketh with his eye. He speaketh with his feet. He teacheth with his fingers. Forwardness is in his heart. He deviseth mischief continually. He soweth discord. Right? So this is the characteristics and the actions of a Luciferian or an occult member or a witch or a wizard.
And last May 1st at 2:24 p.m.
That's another red flag, right? The 224, right? Which the 4 is 6, right? That's another red flag. The time, because these people use numbers, right? So the 2 and the 4 is 6, okay? So that's another red flag right there. Because remember, today or that day last year when this happened was May 1st. That's a very high witchcraft day. May Day or Beltane, right? Which literally marks the midpoint between the spring equinox and the summer solstice. It literally symbolizes the height of spring and the coming of summer, right? Which they need to bless their summer. And how do they try to bless the summer? They try to bless the summer by doing certain rituals, right? To where they're hoping the land will be fertile. So for the land to be fertile, they need to do certain rituals to try and make their God happy, right? The different fire festivals, like I was mentioning.
The woman filming, Yvette Rosario, has just witnessed a struggle in her subway car. The man in the white t-shirt being held on the floor is Jordan Neely. He is 30 years old, homeless, and diagnosed with schizophrenia. He boarded the train at the previous stop. Witnesses say Neely entered the car and immediately began threatening passengers, saying he was, quote, ready to die and would kill a motherfucker. Daniel Penny, a 24-year-old student and former Marine from Long Island, took Neely to the ground and put him in a chokehold. He's the blonde guy there, restraining Neely. These 6 minutes will change everything for both men.
That's another red flag right there, right? The 6 minutes. Also his age, the guy Daniel, or whatever his name, Penny. I think that's his name. I know his last name is Penny, right? The guy Penny, he's 24 years old, right? That's another 6. This ritual lasted 6 minutes, right? That's already 666. And when you're going into the occult meaning of 666, you're going into something known as mathematics. Well, you can use it in mathematics as well. You can use it in many different things because you have something known as the magic square, right? Which I live here in Toronto, and here in Toronto we have something known as Dundas Square. In New York they have Times Square. I know in Paris they have another square, right? In Jamaica they have a square. What are these people letting you know? They're letting you know that these cities, right, these towns are Masonic, right? And it goes into something known as the principle of summation, right? Which in mathematic terms, it's a fancy way of saying you're getting a total from a whole, right? Or a whole is made up of its parts, So with the magic square, but it's also known as the magic matrix as well, right? If you look up the let me show brothers how it looks. Right? This is it right here. This is the magic square of the sun. And each line is equal to 111. Okay? And there's six lines, and the total is 666. Right? This is known as like Luciferian lettering or Luciferian number system. Right? This is akin to a sun god. Right? These people are literally worshiping the sun with this. Right? That's 666. Or in astrology and esoteric, in the astrology and esoteric systems, it's also a representative of the 360 degrees of cycle, right? That's where they get their whole idea of the what do you call it, the witch's wheel, right? Which is a cyclical thing, right? Re birth, birth, like rebirth, death, sorry, Salakia, death and rebirth, right? That's how these people think, right? And one of the gods, that's a representation of that solar deity, right? That soul, SOL, right? That solstice god goes all the way back to Nimrod. Okay. Now, when you look at the magic square of the sun, the highest number is 36 and the lowest number is 1. And the reason why is because it's literally an addition. You're adding all these numbers up. When you add from 1 to 36, you're going to get the number 666, right? That's why they call it the magic square of the sun, right? Because in an esoteric system, it reflects the sun's central role in the celestial, in the order, right? It literally ties into, if you know anything about the zodiac, right? When you go back to the ancient Egyptians, they had something known as the 36 deacons, right? The 36 deacons today, like in modern times, we have the 12 astrological signs. It still adds up to 36, even with our modern day times, because for each of the 12, you have 3 deacons. So 3 times 12 is 36, right? And then you have, what do you call? They call it the 10 divisions, the 10-day divisions, right? And these divisions, they think, govern life on earth and in a spiritual sense as well. And the people today that live by astrology, I'm a Cancer, I'm a Leo, or I'm a Pisces. These people, they make life decisions and life choices based off of this. And that's how they were in the ancient time as well, right? But what these people don't know is that that's all idol worship. All those things are idol worship that goes back to Nimrod, Cush, and Semiramis, right? It's literally solar worship. That's all that it is. None of this is in righteousness. This is all wickedness. Now, this is Romans chapter 1, verse 22, and it reads, professing themselves to be wise, right? Because all of these things stem from quote unquote wise men, right? When you go into the different Babylonian high priests, when you go into the Greek high priests, the Roman high priests, right? And even our modern day high priests, right? Going going to the Catholic Church, going into the what do you call these people? The people that work at NASA, these different astronauts. How do you look at an astronaut? Right? You look at an astronaut like he's one of the most intelligent people on the planet, right? But these people are all witches and wizards and warlocks, right? So professing themselves to be wise, they became fools. Why? Because those people that work for NASA, what are they doing? All they're doing is worshiping the different celestial bodies. They're not giving the glory unto the Most High. The majority of those astronauts that ever went, I think it's all of them, they were 33-degree Masons. So they don't give the glory to the Most High. Verse 23, and change the glory of the uncorruptible power, Yahweh, into the image made like unto a corruptible man, and to birds, and to four-footed beasts, and creeping things, just like the Egyptians. When you go into the Egyptians, they have half man, half goat, half man, half bird, half man, half sphinx, right? And then saying, oh, that's a god. What are you talking about? Like, that's complete wickedness, man. Right? So it says, wherefore Yahweh also gave them up to uncleanness through the lust of their own bodies, of their own hearts, to dishonor their own bodies between themselves. Verse 25, who changed the truth of Yahweh into a lie and worshipped and served the creature more than the creator who is blessed forever. Exactly. That's all that these people are doing. These people are literally worshiping the creature above the creator, man.
These 6 minutes will change everything for both men.
Yes, because those 6 minutes is a ritual, right? It's meant to change everything, right? Because really and truly, this was meant as a racial divide. This was meant to stir up that chaos, right? Order out of chaos, right? He was meant to bring order to that man, right? Because they said the man came on, he was acting crazy and da 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 da. And then this guy Penny, who's 24 years old, he was a Marine, which that should be another red flag to let you know that he was probably under the programming. What programming? The MK Ultra programming. That's how you know that this is all a ritual, man. Right? And that the black guy came on the train at that other stop, and he's just like, yeah, I'm ready to die today. That's how you know it was a ritual. This was all a ritual. This was all a ritual. He knew that was the day he was going to die, and it was going to be by the hands of that guy Penny. Right? This is all a ritual.
Neely will be rushed to the hospital and declared dead. Penny will go to a police precinct where his statement will kick off a legal case that's ongoing right now in Manhattan. It's one that could land him in prison for 15 years.
Hey, that 15 years, that 1 + 5 is 6. And I'm not even trying to get too numerological, because at the end of the day, we can see that this is a ritual. Let me tell you something. When we were young, me and my brethren, we used to put chokeholds on each other because we wanted to see how to make a man pass out, right? Like how long it would take. None of us were ever putting each other in a chokehold for 6 minutes, because it doesn't take that long to make a man pass out. And this guy's supposed to be a Marine, and you're a Marine, and you need to put a person in a chokehold for 6 minutes? It doesn't work like that, because after being in a chokehold for a minute, 1 minute, the person has already lost so much oxygen to the brain that they won't be able to get up quickly. So you still have enough time, if they didn't faint, because already the majority of people are going to faint 30 seconds to 40 seconds, 45 seconds. People are already going to be giving up. They're already going to be tapping out because no oxygen is going to the brain, which is going to make their body weak anyway, right? Because if you're not allowing oxygen to go to the brain, what happens to the body? This reads, when oxygen does not reach the brain, the body experiences a range of symptoms, including confusion, difficulty speaking, seizures, and potential loss of consciousness. A brain cell, as brain cells begin to die within minutes. Brain cells begin to die within minutes due to lack of primary energy source, leading to potential severe brain damage or even death if not treated promptly, right? So you as a Marine or an ex-Marine, you don't know that? Or you as an ex-Marine, you don't know how to put a person in a proper chokehold for them to pass out in less than a minute? That doesn't make any sense, right? You have professional fighters, John Jones and all these different MMA guys. When these guys are doing chokeholds, and when executed correctly, that person is done. The only time where um, it takes long is if it's not executed correctly, and the person might put their hand and they're blocking it, and then they're trying to grip it. But when a professional person who knows what they're doing puts you in a chokehold, you're out of there in less than a minute. And that's all it needs, because anything more than that, you're going to start damaging that person. Like it just says, they're going to start losing as brain cells begin to die. Now, this is 2 Kings chapter 21, verse 6, and it reads, "And he made his son pass through the fire and observe times and use enchantments and dealt with familiar spirits and wizard. He wrought much wickedness in the sight of the Lord to provoke him to anger." So what does that mean? To observe times. When you're observing times, that's exactly what May Day is. May Day is a time of observing times, right? Because that's a festival of a nature festival. You're observing times, right? The time, just because it's spring doesn't mean that you need to sacrifice anything. That's wickedness, man. The Most High never said to do that. The Most High gave us high holy days, right? And the certain different high holy days that we observe are meant for us to look to Yahweh, right? When we're celebrating high holy days, we're giving praises to Yahweh B'Hashem Yahweh Shai. We're not giving praises to the moon, right? We're not giving praise because, right, we have a Sabbath, and our Sabbath is it culminates with the moon. It's not ordained by the moon. It's ordained by Yahweh, right? We look to Yahweh for the answers. We're not looking to the moon and to the sun for the answers. We're not looking to hey brothers, you just seen a fallen star today? Yeah, that's a sign, man. Oh, that's a sign, right? No, it doesn't work like that. Now, is there certain times where an eclipse or a red moon or a blue moon or something might be as a sign from the Most High? Yes. But if the sign is not prophetic, then it means nothing, because the Most High already gave us his word, right? But the difference between us and the heathens is that the heathens look to creation, right? And there's nothing wrong with creation, right? Because like I said, listen, the moon does give you certain things, but it's all from Yahweh. It's not the sun. We don't look to the moon. Now this is Sirach or Ecclesiasticus in the Apocrypha 43:5. It says, "Great is the Lord," right? Not great is the sun, not great is the moon, not great is the stars. Great is the Lord that made it, and his commandment runneth hastily. He made the moon also to serve in her season, for a declaration of times and a sign of the world. So is the moon the God? No. The moon is meant to serve. The moon is serving you. That's literally our calendar in the sky. That's just a calendar, right? That's also our clock. It's a calendar, it's a clock, right? Because from the word moon, you get the word month. So you know when a new month is coming in by the new moon, right? You know when different Sabbaths are coming in by the moon. All these things you should know. Just like you know when the day is about to end. You see the sun set. When the sun sets, what does that mean? Right? So these things is a watch and a calendar. Okay? So great is the Lord that made it, and his commandment runneth hastily. He made the moon also to serve in her season for a declaration of times and a sign of the world. From the moon is the sign of feast. See, it's a sign of feast, a light that decreaseth in her perfection, because that's the lesser light. The sun is the greater light. See, verse 8, the month is called after her name, increasing wonderfully in her changing, right? Because the moon has what? Different phases, like a woman, right? That's why it's associated to a woman, right? It says, wonderfully in her changing, being an instrument of the armies above, shining in the firmament of heaven. The beauty of heaven, the glory of the stars, and an ornament. Those things are just an ornament. How you worshiping a fucking ornament? Giving light in the highest places of the Lord, right? It says, at the commandment of the Holy One, they will stand in their order and never faint in their watch. You see, at the commandment of the Holy One. So we need to worship the Holy One because it's the Holy One that commanded them to be on that time and to be perfect. You can't stop the moon from doing what the moon does. You can't stop the sun from doing what the sun does. Right? Look up, look upon the rainbow and praise him that made it. Very beautiful. It is in the brightness thereof. See? So it says, look upon the rainbow and praise him that made it. See? It says, I'll go to verse 13. By his commandment, he maketh the snow to fall. You people are giving the glory onto these different celestial bodies, right? Going into the different idols, right? Going into to Semiramis, right? Going into Nimrod, going into Cush, right? These different deities that you people are worshiping, not understanding that this all goes back to the Most High, right? And this occult ritual that we just saw with the 666, right? That's literally just an occult ritual. That's all that it is. That's all that it is, right? And we literally watched a man die, on this, right? Hold on, let's go back.
It's one that could land him in prison for 15 years. This case divided America almost immediately.
That was the point of the case. The point of the case was to divide America, right? Order out of chaos, because they want you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans to cause a riot so they can bring in martial law.
On one side, those who say Penny is a racially motivated murderer,
No, he's not a racial motivated murderer. No, he was used in a ritual. To be honest, I don't even know if he was coherent at this time. Right? He might have been under MK Ultra as well. Both these men might have been under MK Ultra. The guy Penny and the guy who's on the floor, right?
vigilante who thought he could put his hands on a poor black man because he was poor and black. On the other, those who believe Penny is a hero who protected his fellow riders in the face of soaring violent crime
and that's how you know it's a ritual as well, because they want to make him into a hero, right? Which that word hero goes to the god Haru, right? Which goes back to the god Haru. And that's what this ritual is all about, because all them gods are really one. Really and truly, they're one. So they're trying to make this man into a hero, which he is in the occult sense. In the occult sense, he was made into a hero. But you have to understand, a hero is also what? He's also a bad guy. Because some people love the hero, some people hate the hero. Just like Batman. If you ever watch Batman, you ever watch Superman, people turn against them. So they're both hero and they're both villain. That's the point of the rituals of those movies or those TV shows or those cartoons or those comic books, right? They're both, right? Just like these witches, right? They'll say, oh, one is a white witch, one is a black witch. No, they're both witches, right? This is the opposite coming together as one. This guy's both a quote unquote good guy and a bad guy all at once. He's a witch.
From government and police. Over the past month, I've spent day after day in a Manhattan courtroom covering the trial of Daniel Penny. I've read hundreds of pages of Jordan Neely's medical records and seen images of his autopsy. I've seen Penny's mother hold back tears on the stand as she vouched for her son's kindness. I've heard from witnesses, police, and the medical examiner. But as the trial comes to a close, basic questions still remain about exactly what happened on that subway train. It all comes back to these 6 minutes when Penny and Neely struck.
And it all comes back to these 6 minutes, exactly. No, they weren't struggling because you could tell that the black guy was dominated. He had no choice but to submit. The reason why he's fighting is because he's no longer receiving oxygen. You know, when you're just basically fighting for your life, right? It's like a person that's drowning. The person that's drowning is not fighting. They're just trying to get oxygen. They're fighting for oxygen.
On the floor of a subway car. Prosecutors say Neely's last voluntary movement was at this moment, 2:28 p.m. 51 seconds later, Penny let go of him. The medical examiner says Neely died a short time later from a chokehold.
You see? You see how that Edomite, that Caucasian just got up? He got up after the ritual was done. Because why let him go there? Why not let him go before? Right? He just got up like he snapped out of it. Like something made him snap out of it. Right? He knew the task. There was a task that was given to him and he completed the task. The task wasn't to keep the people on the train safe. He's not a hero. The task was to kill that man. That was a ritualistic killing that he had to do. And he completed it, right? Because if the task was to subdue the man, well, after you subdued him and everybody else surrounded you, you had men holding his legs, men holding his arms. There's nothing else left to do. He's subdued. You guys, you could have searched him, seen if he had a weapon. As long as he doesn't have a weapon, then he could be on his way. Everybody already called for police, so the police are already on their way. So why do you still have him in a chokehold? And why did you end up letting him go out of the chokehold after what the video said? He already died. So obviously the whole ritual was for him to die.
Compression of his neck. What you're about to see is body cam footage from police arriving at the scene.
Did you see? Did you see what happened? And he walked away from the body. He walked away from the body. He never checked the man. He just let him go, got up, and walked away from the body. Because he probably doesn't even know what happened. He's probably under that MK Ultra, man. Right? But I'm going to end the video up there, man. I hope this video wasn't too much. And with that, I'd like to give all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rakakwadash. Double honors unto the elders and elder apostles of GMS that rule well and teach well. And to the brothers on the four corners of the earth doing this work in truth and in sincerity, shalom. Till next time, Kwame Yasharala.